Hey, what up? I'm back. It's me, Jeff Richardson, aka Jefe Tacoma. What's up? How's everybody doing? Let's get right into it. Damn it. All right, I'm reading day 1, book 4, City of Stars. Chapter 1, Sophris. Portillion. Sophris, are we underway? We are. I'm opening the container. A burst of air shot from hydraulic hinges as the lid of the container popped open. Portillion's joints screamed as he stretched to his full height. Sophris and Grundle had hidden the container behind high walls of cargo, nothing that anyone would need during the average voyage. Sophris held a sack full of food from the kitchen and a heated cylinder of coffee. Grundle's face was poking through the sofa-sized gap in the wall and smiling. Portillion was moved to tears at the sight. Cheer up there, little guy. You're free. Sophris turned to give Grundle a disapproving look. Oh, sorry, Grundle whispered. Portillion raised a creaky voice. Thank you, gentlemen. When do you think I can come out of here? Sophris breathed slowly, planning a careful response. I'm afraid it's not safe. Not yet. You'll need to remain until we're certain the crew can be trusted. Sandeman is hard to read, and the others. Portillion squinted. Sandeman? Alistair Sandeman? The actor? Grundle chuckled. That's the one. He's Marshall's idea of a minder. We were planning to travel on her cruiser. I talked him into helming the Horus instead. Portillion smirked. Well played. Although I kind of wish you hadn't. I figured I might take a crack at it. Grundle slapped him on the shoulder, chuckling at the jest. Portillion winced. There's some cute little interacting there. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that chapter, so I'll just keep going. Ayana, or chapter 2, Ayana. Beloved mother. Ayana knelt before the enormous semicircular pest. Ayana knelt before the enormous semicircle. Motherfucker. Ayana knelt before the enormous semicircular pedestal where the matriarch stood. Enough of that. Rise, my child. We have much to discuss. Ayana rose, looking anywhere but at the matriarch. She had always been told that the Great Mother was wreathed in the light of the goddess, and that the unclean were not to look upon her face. The matriarch took Ayana's hand and half dragged her up a rear staircase into a huge U-shaped hall, flanked by enormous marble columns, heavy, rich crimson draperies, gauzy gossamer curtains made of gold and orange threads. Sunlight streamed in through east-facing windows, bathing everything in a warm, soft glow. Braziers steamed as coals heated pots of sweet-smelling incense. Thin channels of water spilled throughout, acolytes drawing more forth occasionally to fill long, slender cylinders of holy water. I say water three times in the sentence. That's why I said more, but thin channels of water spilled throughout, acolytes drawing occasionally, drawing forth water occasionally to fill. Yeah, that sucks. Laid out on couches were the suffering elites, wealthy individuals who came to the temple to be healed of ailments both physical and spiritual. Acolytes passed from one dignitary to the next, offering food, hot tea, lozenges, and other items to citizens who barely took notice of their actions. Several of these notables recognized Ayanna and waved. No doubt they would tell everyone they'd seen the stargazer woman at the temple once they'd returned to their palatial estates. Goddess, how she hated them. What am I doing? Forgive me, goddess. I must remember my mandate. The matriarch hobbled briskly past the patients and crossed through a heavy velvet curtain. Ayanna followed. Suddenly she felt at home. Here was the true heart of the temple, a simple concrete cube adorned with nothing more than a cot, a desk, two simple wooden chairs, a small candelabra, and a copy of the Concordia Discoursi, open to one of Ayanna's favorite passages, the tale of the farm wife. She smiled and let her emotional armor slip away. The matriarch looked up and motioned for her to sit. Ayanna did so. The matriarch breathed deeply and began to speak. My child, the church, my child, the church is in crisis. Politics have riven the conclave, and its tendrils have begun to reach within our ranks. I fear that even our most I fear that even some of our most loyal sisters have been tainted by the allure of power. Ayanna was startled and pleased to hear that the matriarch agreed with her. Such luck! Perhaps the woman was enlisting Ayanna to fight back against this decline. I fear that the time to forestall this shift is behind us. My entreaties to the goddess have fallen on deaf ears. Across the galaxy, our acolytes have slowly found their powers diminishing. The healing gifts we are so famous for are beginning to wane. Ayanna had heard the rumors, but she'd had no idea how widespread the phenomenon was. Some within our ranks have tried to innovate, to shift our focus from prayer to modern medicine. This is an admirable pursuit, one I agree with, actually. However, my concern is that the goddess herself may actually be losing power. Ayanna reared back, a confused expression on her face. Beloved mother, I don't understand. How is that possible? The matriarch poured them each a glass of tea. She took a sip and continued. I cannot say for certain, but I believe that some force I have yet to discern, is blocking the force of prayer as well as grace. Without the power given her by the prayers of her adherents, the goddess may be withdrawing from our reality, returning to her celestial home, and and abandoning humanity to its own destruction. This cannot be allowed to take place. Ayanna was emotional. But how can this be? The people are devout. I have met so many who swear by her power. The matriarch sipped again, then set down the cup. She reached over and patted Ayanna's shaking hand. This is what I want you to uncover. What is the source of this darkness dividing the people from the gods? The gods? Other faiths, other faiths have been affected? The entire galaxy has been affected, child. Surely you have felt it. Ayanna considered the notion. She definitely wondered if all this violence and chaos might have a spiritual source, but without any evidence, she dismissed it. Was it truly possible that some alien power was weakening humanity's connection with the divine? Why me? I have so little experience in these matters. On the contrary, my dear, you have shown more promise, more potential than anyone in the recent history of our order. I believe that you are truly the reincarnation of your beloved namesake. Ayanna felt as if she'd been hit with a falling piano. What? Impossible. She was only one woman. 22 years, more nurse than champion. Why would the matriarch see this in her? Mother, I am humbled by your words, but I am nothing of the sort. I am but a humble servant. Quit that. I know the moment you walked through those doors at age 16, you were special. The power of your spirit assailed me even at that time. All of us felt it. One might even say that envy of your powers motivated at least one of our own sisters. M- Motivated at least one of our sisters to seek power of her own. Ayanna caught the reference clearly. The matriarch was alluding to Mother Barillon, the same woman who'd bundled her and the statue back to her homeworld. Ayanna just stared. The view from the window was nice, but ordinary. Shops, markets, slums, all visible. The fine cathedrals, stadia, and bay views were not on offer, which Ayanna preferred. Let the rich have their scenic vistas. The matriarch supreme should look out upon her people. When she wasn't focused on her work, of course. What would you want me to do? The matriarch stood, went to her desk, and drew out a small wooden case. She lifted the latch, opened the lid, and drew out a small bag tied with a simple strip of black twine. She placed the bag in Ayanna's hand, closed her other hand over it, and spoke. Ayanna Stargazer, daughter of Roland Stargazer and secondary heir to the Stargazer fortune, I hereby charge you to defend the faith and humanity from any and all threats, interior and exterior. You shall serve as my personal steward and hammer of justice in all the affairs of this high office. You will carry on my work and the work of every mother of mercy since the first days of our order.
You will seek out the forces of darkness and bring them to heel. You will arm the defenders of justice and crush the agents of cruelty. You will weed out those among our order who seek to gain power and amass great wealth. You will represent myself and the church both here and throughout the galaxy. You will embody and exalt all the virtues of the goddess, and you will serve all of humanity down to the weakest and meanest among them. You will renounce all lands, all titles, all commitments and associations. You will command and raise sacred armies. You will crush the agents of destruction, and you will beat back the corrupting influence of evil in every corner of the universe. I hereby name you Protector of the Faith, and you shall serve at the will of the Almighty Goddess. Zora be praised.
Aeona fell to her knees, fighting back tears. She could hardly get the words out. Zora be praised. She was at a loss. How many things was she in charge of? Good grief. The matriarch stood and rang the matriarch stood and rang a little silver bell. Fuck. The matriarch stood and rang a little silver bell. Several acolytes rushed in and knelt beside Aeona.
Sisters, I have named Blessed Mother Stargazer Protector of the Faith. Take her to the citadel and prepare her vestments. The ceremony shall begin at matins tomorrow. Go.
The women bowed and left through the curtain. Seconds later, she could hear the commotion. If they hadn't already, the elites would soon hear of her promotion. She would never hear the end of it. What will my mother say? The matriarch patted her on the arm and walked back to her desk. Turning her back to Aeona, she spoke again.
Goddess bless you, Aeona. The galaxy and the faith are counting on you.
Mm, 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 mm. That's a long chapter, but I'll probably close it there. Come on back next time you hear. Um, I don't know why I decided this, just to give her like one of the highest profile jobs in the church right off the bat, being so young. But I think it's because I made her so overpowered uh, that I needed the extent of her power to be matched by her leadership ability, so that there's more going on than just her kicking butt. But I had already made it so that she's really young, so like it's a little weird, but it just shows how much her spiritual power is. I love that speech the matriarch gives. Mm. All right, next time, Grundle and Ramsdell. I'll catch you then. Peace.